Motoring 2012 on TSN is brought to you by Michelin, a better way forward.
This week we're on the west coast of Canada in the city of Vancouver, which is still savoring some warm memories from the Olympic Games and trying to forget a hockey team and the aftermath. But I digress. We're here to check out a new car from a company, well, that at least this morning described itself as a pesky South Korean automaker that can't sit still. The company is Hyundai. And you ready for this? This company, as I speak, is #1 in Canada when it comes to passenger car sales. And the new car, well, they're calling it the Veloster.
Ladies and gentlemen, introducing the all-new Hyundai Veloster.
It's really a little diversion from what we usually do. We had a hard time categorizing it. We didn't know what segment to put it in because it really is a kind of a category buster. Probably the first time we've brought a vehicle that is specifically going after a demographic, and that's the Gen Ys. We want to keep new customers, new people coming into our brand, and we think this is the vehicle that will get those Gen Ys to really take a look at Hyundai.
Well, I'm 27, so I fall into the Y generation, so it's like designing a car for yourself. It was supposed to be a car that would totally break out Hyundai out of like the mundane and really explore new territory as far as proportion, as far as pushing the design language that we were developing. Also, make a car that embodies both sporty aspects, but with a lot of functionality in it.
Well, we're calling this a sporty compact coupe, and very unique to the segment. I think it's the only car in the world that actually has one door on the driver's side and actually has two doors on the passenger side. And this allows full access to the second row of seats, but still retaining that coupe profile.
I really love the profile. I love how tapered the profile is. And I also love the rear three-quarter view because you can really see the stance of the car, just how wide the wheels are pulled out of the body, how the wheel flares play up the planted look.
As a non-generation Wyer, the generation that actually gave birth to some of these people, I think this is a really ugly automobile. But I've talked to some of the younger guys on this event, and they like it a lot. So, I guess the yardstick for me is if I don't like it, they probably will.
The interior is made to match the exterior, and you can see the detailing. The front fascia is inspired by a fuel tank of a motorcycle. The gauges are inspired by the dual exhaust tips of the motorcycle. So it's everything that Generation Y is able to relate to.
And believe me, not only is it uncomfortable back here, but somebody closes that hatch, it hits me squarely in the head. This was the scene when I believe we were test driving the second generation Tiburon, and we made our viewers aware of the fact that if you were tall, sitting in the back seat, you could conceivably get hit in the head by the closing hatch. Well, it's the same situation with the new Veloster, but like the Tiburon, Hyundai has put up a warning sticker. So if you happen to be tall and you happen to be sitting in the back seat of this vehicle, all I can say is, duck.
I think it handles well. It's got good electronic steering, which is better than it used to be with Hyundai products. No complaints in the handling department. The ergonomics and the switchgear, yeah, it's okay. I think the interior looks like something out of Transformers. But then it's geared to that younger market, and that's just not me.
No, this is not a hybrid, but interestingly, it has incredible fuel economy. It's actually more fuel efficient than some of our competitor hybrid vehicles on the highway. It's a different way of getting fuel economy without sacrificing power, and we do it through direct injection technology. The horsepower on the Veloster is 138 horsepower, which is actually very good for this class of vehicle. It has direct injection, plus it also has a unique feature called a dual clutch transmission. And instead of an automatic transmission, it utilizes a new technology it's basically an automated manual that provides better fuel economy than a manual, but with the ease of driving that comes with an automatic.
It needs more power. At the presentation, they said performance wasn't an issue for this market. It's an issue for me. I mean, this is a very slow automobile. I mean, you could give it more performance without getting, it costing too much money or getting carried away. And I really think that they should think about doing that, because this is, as it sits, it needs more get up and go. And I predict that in the next year or two, they will do precisely that. They'll give it more power. But right now, ugly and underpowered.
Veloster definitely is not, a muscle car. It is a very efficient, sporty feeling car. It handles great, it has incredible fuel economy, and yet it still has enough power to actually zip around town and go around corners with providing a little adrenaline.
You know what it looks like to me? It looks like kind of like a Kia Soul that's been squashed. That's what it looks like to me. And I guess if I can get around that, I'll like it. But it'll sell well. You heard it here first. That car will sell like hotcakes.
The future of the automobile, right inside here. All will be revealed later on Kenzie's Corner.
It used to be if you wanted an armchair, you bought a Buick. On this edition of Test Drive, the Regal CXL Turbo. After disappearing for a number of years, the Regal nameplate returned to a car that was heavily based on the European Opel insignia. The good news is that unlike so many transplants, the changes to the North American Regal were so small that they were all but non-existent. The headlights were slightly different and there was a Buick badge in the grille, but that's just about where any and all similarities to the old armchair of yesteryear ended. The cabin of this Regal, especially if you go with the CXL and add the optional package, has been done out very nicely. Power leather seats, power moonroof, a navigation system that actually reserves about 10 gig of the hard drive space for your own personal music collection. You'll also find a Harman Kardon audio system, again, very rich to the sound. However, there's one glaring omission. There is no backup camera. This is not a cheap car. There are vehicles that cost half as much, and it's standard equipment. The Buick shines in the manner in which it straightens a twisty road, and it does so while delivering remarkable comfort given the sportier overtones. There's very little body roll, understeer is a long way out, and the feedback afforded by the steering is both poised and predictable. These traits and the turbo's larger 245/40R19 tyres combine to give the driver a true sense of what's happening where rubber meets road. Now that's a 180 from the previous vagueness that once defined Buick. At the back end, the Regal's been well thought through. To begin with, there's plenty of room in the back seat for two adults to sit in comfort. And when you get around to the back end, a couple of things I like. First of all, a proper handle on the deck lid, as it should be. There's also plenty of space, minimal intrusion, 60/40 split folding rear seats, and a nice large opening. The one thing that impressed me, they took the time to box these hinges. They were thinking. The up-level CXL Turbo earns a 2-litre turbocharged 4. It produces 220 horsepower and, more importantly, it twists out 258 pound-feet of torque at just 2,000 RPM. The difference it makes to the drive is dramatic, to say the least. There is virtually no lag time, and so it hops off the line with alacrity, and it maintains this urgency through the mid-range and on to serious speed. If this Regal CXL isn't quite fast enough for your blood, fear not. There's always the Regal GS. It gets a modified engine and a bigger exhaust system. Now, by bumping the turbo boost pressure up to 15 PSI, the GS kicks out 270 horsepower and, more importantly, 295 pound-feet of torque at just 2,400 RPM. It also cuts the 0 to 100k time to less than 7 seconds. Part of the reason the Regal feels alive, turbo aside, is the 6-speed manumatic transmission. The first 5 gears are such that the engine stays in the heart of the power band as the Regal is accelerated to speed. Once cruising, 6th gear looks after the fuel economy and keeps the engine's noise at a discrete level. There's also a manual gate, although it saw seldom use because the box is best left to its own devices. The reason this Regal GS is not an armchair is quite simple. This car is based on the Opel Insignia, and to GM's credit, they didn't soften it when they brought it across the pond. I don't really care for the base Regal. I do like this CXL Turbo because it adds a bit of spice. However, given my druthers, I take the Regal GS. It is true to the legacy, and that means it's got a lot more power, and it's like a habanero. It burns.
Recently, we had a chance to visit the Volkswagen plant in Chattanooga, Tennessee, as the company has returned to the States to build vehicles. In this plant, they're building at the moment only Passats. Now, Volkswagen hopes to triple its American sales to 800,000 vehicles by 2018. I'm not sure what they've been smoking. However, you can bet the company is expecting the new Passat to pull its weight. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to put not one, but 3 Passats into the Motoring Long-Term Garage, but not all at the same time. We're going to begin with the 5-cylinder version. In fact, Graham will be featuring it on the SKIDPAD in a few weeks. That will be followed by the V6 for a few months, and then we'll end up with the turbo diesel, better known as the TDI. And then Graham and I will decide which flavor we like best.
This car has that testosterone in the DNA, like an M3, like a Porsche, that it really has that I'm a badass dude, get out of my way. And I really think they needed that because they were going a little too soft and happy in their designs, you know, especially with the Countryman. The Countryman's like, hi, I'm this happy little car in, you know, German car land. Why don't you get inside and we'll go for a ride?
As we heard earlier, the new Veloster is aimed at the Y generation, men and women in their 20s. So they may not understand this, but back in my day, if you burned out a headlamp or a tail lamp, it was a simple matter of going down to your local Canadian Tire. Cost about 12 bucks. All you needed was a screwdriver and you could replace both bulbs. Well, obviously things have changed in today's modern vehicles, especially a car like this Hyundai. I mean, check out the lamps both at the front and the rear. I mean, they are a work of art. Oh, one other thing. When it comes to safety, the work of art on this car, the indicators are amber just the way they should be. All right, let's head to the garage and join Bill Gardiner.
Our motoring tip of the week concerns replacement batteries. The tremendous underhood temperature of modern vehicles and all the electrical accessories on these new vehicles have both conspired to shorten or reduce battery life in most cases. In all likelihood, at some stage of the game, you'll have to replace the battery in your vehicle. When that time comes, there's a few things you have to consider. And remember, this is one area where that old adage really applies. You do get what you pay for. 3 things will improve when you opt up for the more premium priced premium performance battery. You'll get higher CCA, that's cold cranking amps, and that's what gets your vehicle cranked and started on a really cold day in the wintertime. Reserve capacity, that's the number of minutes that your battery can sustain a 25 amp load without the alternator running in the vehicle. So in other words, if your alternator fails for some reason or you're running accessories without the engine going, the number of minutes of reserve capacity dictate how long you can go before that battery will fail to start the car. And the third thing that will improve when you opt up for more expensive battery is the number of months of warranty and the number of months of no charge replacement of that battery. So think about it when you're buying. More money spent up front will give you better performance, longer warranty, and more life to the battery. That's your motoring tip of the week.
We're here in Quebec for the launch of Toyota's latest subcompact car, the second generation 2012 Yaris hatchback. Since its inception in 2003 through the Eco hatchback, Toyota have sold over 84,000 units here in Canada. What I found particularly interesting though is why did over half of those sales occur here in Quebec?
Quebec drivers are looking for small, efficient, practical vehicles that don't cost a lot up front and are very durable, so that they're easy to maintain and have low cost for refueling. So the Yaris is almost the perfect vehicle for the Quebec marketplace, and people have really responded well to it.
We've gone with the proven 1.5 liter four-cylinder engine, provides 106 horsepower and 103 foot-pounds of torque. There's an available 4-speed automatic and 5-speed manual, and 3 trim levels to choose from. So a 3-door CE model, a 5-door LE, and the 5-door SE Sport Edition model, all available with either of the transmissions.
While still maintaining its European flair, Toyota have actually made some key changes to this 2012 model. An increase in the wheelbase has created some more interior room, and with bolder lines and an actual lowered overall height of the car, have managed to achieve a sportier look and feel. For those of you who weren't particular fans of previous generation centrally mounted gauges, well, Toyota's actually gone for the traditional look back in front of the driver.
The design, the way things fit and finish, the usual Toyota quality is all there. I think the interior, that dash being where it should be. Other than that, it's just a nice little car.
It was surprising. It was a lot more nimble than I was thinking it would be. And like it's still a Yaris, so it's not a powerful vehicle, but was able to get through some of the hilly areas a little bit quicker with a little bit more torque than I was expecting.
In terms of safety equipment, we're class leading in terms of the standard 9 airbags, which is more than anyone in terms of standard airbags in the segment. Of course, standard star safety system, as it is in all across all Toyota models. So stability control, traction control, ABS, brake assist, smart stop technology, all standard. Air conditioning is available, power locks, power windows, Bluetooth, standard input jack for auxiliary equipment, four-wheel disc brakes available on the SC. So a host of different options depending on what model someone's looking for, but a lot of variety to suit a lot of different customers' needs.
Now, I'm not entirely sure if I agree with the fact that air conditioning comes as an option, but this Yaris does everything it says in the tin. Being able to easily accommodate a family of 4, one feature that will continue to appeal to both those urban and suburban is the fact that it's got a 4.7 meter turning radius, which means you could practically turn on a dime.
You can make it bigger, sharper, give it sharper styling, improve the fuel economy, and lower the price, then we think a lot of consumers are going to agree this is the right car for them.
Riddle me this, Cape Crusader. When is a superhero like a traffic signal? Go to motoringtv.com to find out the answer to this and so many other pressing questions.
Closed captioning of Motoring 2012 is brought to you by
Greener, fuel efficient, global. This is Chevrolet Now, driving our world forward.
With all due deference to Vanna White, this is the future of the automobile. This is the Ford Sync system, the dashboard in the new Ford Focus, and according to Ford, this is what we want in our automobiles. This is connectivity. This is connecting our lives and our automobiles through the magic of electronics. This is the Sync system developed by Ford in conjunction with Microsoft, my second least favorite computer company, and don't get me started on Apple, okay? Sync is also the main reason why Consumers Reports has taken every Ford off their recommended list, because they can't figure it out. And you know what? Neither can I. Let's start with the design. This is supposed to look like a computer keyboard. Whoever had a computer keyboard with numbers slanted up like this? You reach for 3 and you get 6. Makes no sense. Half of the features in this system you can't use when the car is driving. You're supposed to use the hands-free voice-activated system. This is for your safety. But the fact is that's too complicated to figure out as well, so what do you end up doing? You end up punching the number on your handset instead of using the hands-free system. That, of course, is assuming you can get the system to recognize your phone. Now, this is a piece of junk iPhone. Trying to connect it with a Microsoft-based computer system, maybe there's a little corporate intrigue going on there. Well, I sat for half an hour trying to get this phone to connect with this system. It said, connecting, ... No phone found. What do you mean, no phone found? It's right there. It couldn't find it. I eventually randomly punched a bunch of buttons, and it magically appeared. Now, I'm picking on Ford just because I happen to have a Ford here. BMW really started all this with the iDrive system. And the answer to that was, no, you drive, I'm going to sit in the back seat. Mercedes command system wasn't a whole lot better. Now these things have gotten better over time. This thing needs a lot of work. But is this really the answer? Do we really want this? We know that distracted driving is the #1 cause of traffic crashes. Is this making our driving less distracted? I don't think so. And if this is the future of the automobile, I'm not sure I want to be part of it. I'm Jim Kenzie.
You know, Hyundai has been doing a lot of things right over the past several years, and the reason, product. Yes, they've got the value that really got them started, but now they have the quality. And of course, they're hoping for big things from the Veloster. What do I think of this vehicle? I like it. It's very comfortable inside. It sticks to the road and extremely quiet. Now, it's only 138 horsepower. Sure, you'd like to see a turbo in it, but hey, at $19,000, the base model is anything but base. I mean, the list of standard features is truly impressive. As for me, I don't mind the design. I mean, it's not my cup of tea, but I really admire manufacturers like Hyundai and Nissan with the Juke that are pushing that design envelope, especially for young people. And remember, they're directing this car at the Y generation, people in their 20s, not for next year, but down the road. And Hyundai says that by 2020, the Y generation will account for 44% of all new car sales compared to 25% with baby boomers. But here's a stat I don't like. Hyundai says that today's Y generation, only 5% consider themselves car enthusiasts. And you know, as a car guy, I find that kind of sad. Remember now, if you've come in late on this episode or you've missed previous episodes of the program, you can check it out at motoringtv.com. That's it for now. We'll see you next time out as we continue to bring you more stories about cars and the people who drive them.
Male ego gets in the way. They get worried that they're going to miss and they're going to look bad, and women don't care. You know, they go in there and they say, I'm just going to do the best I can do. Take a deep breath and go for it. And I think it shows up on test day.
Motoring 2012 on TSN has been brought to you by Michelin, a better way forward.